The hell? And now it's not playing any music.
Hey, what's up, players? This is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at a player.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know what's going on. Wow, because you just threw me off, man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Potsy and Tino show. I'm Potsy. He's Tino.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling GameStop, where you can get Pokemon tonight at midnight. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Thank you for Hall of Famer Teddy Long for that intro. And go ahead, Tino. Just make fun of me for another 5 minutes.
No, I just threw you off.
Oh, you popped me and threw me off. What's up with your hair? And what's up with my hair?
That's all I said.
And see, nobody else can actually see what's going on with my hair because I'm not. But I have hair.
Yes.
I've had hair for like a month now.
Not like that. Like I can really.
Yeah, I styled it. I actually. So, all right. You want to know what happened to my hair?
Yeah,
I'll tell you exactly what happened to my hair. I got to the point where it was, okay, I'm either gonna let it all just grow and continue to grow, or I'm gonna cut it and actually try to like do something with it. The reason why it was cut something and do something with it was because it was like, otherwise I need to buy a brush. I don't have a brush.
We found a picture. It's like an old picture. I wish I had saved it or sent it.
Was it me with like the spiky?
No, you had on a red shirt. It's like we were young. I mean, it was young. This was like back, it had to have been 15, 20 years ago.
He's got to find this picture, folks. We got to put this
smaller,
on.
But you had like this red shirt.
I was small.
Yeah, this red. Well, I was too. We were both. I had the red shirt, but you had a head. I mean, it wasn't even like it was full. You had a full head. I'm like, well, Robinson, decent looking back then.
So I'm gonna let you know that since I cut my hair, people are like, Rob, you don't look like you're in your 40s anymore.
Oh damn.
So take that, old fucking man.
So hey.
Old fucking man with your salt and pepper.
That's all right, though.
And we ain't chasing waterfalls or anything. That was TLC, I know.
I'm like 50 next year, and I still don't look at it because black don't crack.
But you got a lot of gray.
That's the only way you can tell how old I am.
But guess what? I ain't got none.
That's all right, though.
I ain't got none. And my hair looks all right now. When I sit there and just do like that with it, that's all I got to do. Don't be jelly, because you can't grow no hair on your head. Take your hat off.
I say because I know I got a spot the same one.
I got the same spot. I was thinking about actually getting some of that stuff and just sitting there going like to see if anything happens. Just see if I can pull a Chris Jericho.
Just spray it.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to put like the whole whipped cream on a fucking sundae and sit there and just.
What if you like just get that the chia, but you know
the chia pet, really?
but it's like your hair was at a Rogaine, but it was like chia pet. Every time I see like you get a plug here, a plug here.
Oh, dude, look,
you
mean like Chris Jericho?
Yes.
Like Chris Jericho, his hair is like this ratty, and I love Chris Jericho, and I'm glad he's got a full head of hair again, but he didn't have a full head of hair like a year ago. So you know that he went to Bosley or some shit.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden he's like, hey, Mr. Bosley, the guy from Charlie's Angels, can you do something? Because I don't think he went to the real like that commercial Bosley.
He went to Tom Bosley from Happy Days.
I think he went to Tom Bosley from Happy Days, who was bald, by the way. Let's go ahead and say thank you, hello, and thank you to joining the show to Chris Barrett and Michael Turner. And it shows that someone else is watching. If you are, by all means, say hello.
And we're sorry we were gone last week. I had a family emergency. I read it right between my legs.
Yeah. Tino had a family emergency last week on what was to be our first Thursday episode. So if you feel like talking about it, you are more than welcome to talk about it. But it was an emergency. Yeah. So, Tino had erectile dysfunction.
Oh no, that's never gonna happen.
My back
Easy,
is
big fella.
You like pie, Lillian? Do you want to talk about it? I mean, you can give the short version. You can give the no version, or you can give the. But I mean, So here's the thing, folks. Tino knows that if he doesn't talk about this, the show's going to be shorter. So that's why he's like, maybe if I don't say nothing, Rob. Except you know me, I'll fill the time.
I won't, because I'll leave. I'll be like, and walk away. Good night.
No, you won't, because you do the outro.
I'll do it, then I'll walk.
He'll do the outro in the middle of the show. He'll be like back in the day when Steve Austin actually used to do the main event in the middle of the night so he could go home early and start drinking.
Pretty much. Short version is he's okay now, but my son got hit by a car Thursday. Thursday he got concussed, and he has 2 broken wrists, so he's in cast. So he's doing better. That's just the short version.
And with that, I'm going to go ahead and say some of the stuff that I said to you. Now, Tino knows that I truly do care about him, his family, Matthew, and I mean, heck, I've even met your mom, and I care about her. As soon as Tino told me, I was like, oh shit, is he all right? And he said, we're going to the doctor. We're trying to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to make light of it because Matthew's up. He's talking. He's, like we don't expect anything really bad to happen to the kid at this point. This is before you sent me the pictures.
What, from Monday?
Well, from the very first picture that you sent me where he had the giant welt on his forehead and everything. I mean, he literally looked like he was growing Quado from Total Recall on his forehead. But which I didn't get to say because I was actually worried about the thing on his forehead. You told me that went down the next day.
Well, because
you iced it and everything else.
He just sat there with the ice thing on it, so it went down.
Well, and, I mean, that's the best you can do there. But, I'm sitting there making jokes with Tino, like, well, now that he's got 2 broken wrists, you're going to have to tell the kid that he can't take shit for 6 weeks.
And I said, no, me and my wife had already talked about it. We're going to take him outside, tell him to assume the position and shoot him in the ass with the water. Nicole said that she was shooting with the water hose.
Oh my God! And it's November, folks. Like even in North Carolina, it gets down in the 30s at night.
Shoot right in the ass with the water hose. Make sure you're getting it real good.
Well, and then I said, and then I sent another message to you that said, well, I guess it's time to invest in a bidet.
Yeah, and we thought about that too. And so, but there's serious thoughts and conversations we had, because when he was. But Thursday when he came home, he just had like the splints and he was wrapped up and he couldn't do anything. At least now with the caption, he has some of his fingers around so he can do a little more.
So you can almost get under it.
So he's 13-year-old. He doesn't want anybody, seeing him. Like, dude, I'm your dad. I'll see you when you're baby. I have your same parts. Your mom's not gonna come in here and do it, but if someone needs to wipe your ass or help you take a shower, it's gonna be dad. But he's figured it out.
At this point in my life, my dad used to say the same shit to me when I was like 13, 14 years old and I broke fingers and whatever. Yeah. But luckily, my dad was smart enough to know, hey, we're not taking you to the doctor for broken fingers because broken fingers, they just take it. But I never broke a wrist or that I know of. I mean, I might have.
We didn't know his wrist till they said it. I'm like, fuck.
Well, and you said one was worse than the other.
His left one, and he's a fucking lefty.
Well, that makes sense because that would be his.
Yes, he's dominant. He tried to fix himself.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as doing schoolwork or doing anything, we had just signed him up to play basketball. He was supposed to start this week. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, and now I got to tell him, his friends are out doing the football, doing the basketball. This kid can't lift anything, so he's not even supposed to lift his backpack. He can't ride the bus, so we take him to school. they've assigned a student to carry his backpack for him.
And he gets to leave class early so that he can get to the next class on time, I'm sure.
Probably. I don't know how.
Well, so maybe not with wrists, but like
legs.
But when I broke my toes, like they assigned a
Because you're on
kid.
crutches and stuff.
Well, no, but like I was hobbling and I had doctor's notes.
Yeah.
So they
probably because it took you longer to walk.
Yeah.
See, with him, he's not really walking, so I don't know if they would let him.
Yeah, probably not.
No, I was trying to milk it because his art, he takes art, and his art teacher's like, well, we're talking about what can he do. She said, well, the things we can do, like on the computer and touchpad, he can, they can figure out stuff. And then I'm like, bitch,
you gotta do something.
He goes, well, I said, okay. You can't use touchpads. So if you can't do a touchpad at school,
you can't use your phone.
I bet you because this is a touchpad.
Yeah.
And you can do this all night on the phone. So you can do shit at school with it.
If you had an iPad, same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's trying to milk it. He don't want to do one at school. I can't, bitch.
You know what though? Now you and I, obviously, we grew up in a different time where we didn't have those touch screens. We didn't have iPads and stuff. But they would have sat there and shoved a damn paintbrush up into the cast, and you'd have been painting like this.
No,
shit.
bitch. You'd be finger painting them.
No, because they wouldn't want to get your cast dirty.
True,
they wouldn't want to get your cast dirty because you got to clean up afterwards. But they would have shoved the damn paintbrush so that it sticks out like here, and you're going like this.
But it's amazing to me because that's how I know my kid's a popular kid. He got these casts Monday, and we said, okay, cool. So he got the black cast, and we gave him the silver Sharpie. So he comes home Tuesday. Both fucking are full from kids signing his cast. They're full. And it's not like people were drawing people names. They had to write smaller because everybody's trying to sign this damn cast. I'm like, all right.
Every single one of them wants to say that they're his friend, but none of them want to wipe his ass.
That's where friendship stops.
Well,
coming about. Well, see you later.
Tino, I've known you 20-something years. If you didn't have a wife and kids,
you still wouldn't wipe my ass.
It'd be difficult.
My wife said if I broke both my wrists, she wouldn't wipe my ass. I'm like, what the fuck is...
I mean, you probably got a hairy ass.
I'm like, we're married. I can't do it. She's like, I'm like, damn.
Gonna find a new wife.
We got the detachable shower head. She said, I'll let you bend over.
At least she does that. But like I've got a handicapped father, and like that's something we have to do with him, and
bathe him and stuff like that.
I'm gonna have to do it.
Who does it?
Wherever he stays. So my mom does it. If he goes down to my sister's house in Myrtle Beach, and my mom's on like a cruise or whatever, then my sister does it.
Oh, so Shane doesn't.
Shane has done it.
I would think because I think as a daughter, it'd probably be weird to have to do that for your dad. You know what I'm saying?
But she does. Yeah. But she does. And so
has Dave done it?
Dave will say he's done it. I don't think he's done it. Dave's called me to go over to my mom's house and actually pick him up off the floor because Dave couldn't pick him up.
Your dad. Your mom could probably pick your dad. I don't think your dad's not that. Your dad, as I remember, your dad's can't be that heavy.
The thing is, he's dead weight because he doesn't help. In fact, most times he like stops you from trying to pick. Yeah, he is
really?
Not. Oh yeah, because he's like, it's like, all right, I need your help. You need to put your arms down on the ground, and he's like, and he just like lays there, and you gotta. So you know how in the rest,
damn grown ass toddler. That sounds like Matthew when he was little.
Dude, it is. It's really what it is.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, and when it comes to my dad, it's not funny because, like, my mom's like 140 pounds and she's 70-something years old.
Yeah, she shouldn't.
Like, what we're really, I mean, honest to God, what we're worried about is at some point he's going to fall down and he's going to be on top of her.
Ooh.
And then she's not going to be able to get him off.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what we're really worried about. Like, so we want her to be on like a single-story house or whatever, and
It should.
No, my mom's house is 3 stories.
It is. I was trying to picture your mom's house in my head.
And it's got rail. I mean, it's handicap accessible, but it's handicap accessible for somebody who wants to actually like move.
Dad doesn't.
Interestingly enough, my next door neighbor here is one of the people that actually like sells like the seats that go up.
You gotta get one for your dad.
Well, so I mentioned that, and my mom's like, "Well, they're too expensive." Blah blah. I'm like, he says you can get like a pre-owned one and whatever, because after people pass away, like they don't need it anymore. They pull it out and they can put it in somewhere else. And she's like, he's not gonna sit down in that. And she's probably right. He'd sit down for a second, it'd start going up, and he'd fall out. Probably be even worse, right? But yeah. So I mean, we've tried to talk, and my mom's never gonna watch this. My sister's never gonna watch it. You know, the people that actually
shame on them.
No. We talk about pro wrestling. None of them watch this show. But I mean, like the people that do watch now know that much more about us, right? But like, we really do worry about him falling down on top of people and stuff. And you look at my house. My house, there's no way my dad could stay here. I couldn't wash him.
No, and yeah, it's not accessible at all.
No,
because you don't have a bedroom downstairs eating.
No, I mean he'd have to sleep on the couch, which he could do.
But the bathroom, the shower is upstairs,
and there's no way he's walking up that many stairs. Because my mom's house has like 7 stairs or whatever. This thing's got like 15.
Tore my knee.
We moved the show downstairs because of it. And since then, we've just stayed downstairs.
Because we're lazy.
Well, I mean, it makes more sense to have the show down here anyway. But yeah, so like, you know, like it's weird, man. And you know, I love my dad and all, but like to say that he's becoming a burden is an understatement, because I mean my mom's 73 years old.
So at some point in time, you have to think about getting a care person to go in to help.
No. So my mom's tried to do like, well, back when my dad was still younger, she tried to do physical therapy and stuff like that, and like dad just didn't stick to it. So like he never got better. Like you know, physical therapy is to help the mobility.
Saying go help.
No.
A nurse.
Well, the problem with that is how expensive they are. You know, like my mom's talked about putting them in a home, and you know, and she actually did put them in a place so that she could go on a trip by herself. And my dad loved it. It was crazy. He's like,
he hated it. He loved it.
He was like, I got friends, I got this, I got that, and let's be honest, my dad only talks to my mom. Like, and my mom yells at him all the time because he does. Okay, just so everybody knows, my dad is. Your
dad?
75.
Okay.
But I mean, he had a stroke 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And the stroke was one where they told him he'd never walk or talk again. Now, he did both, but I mean, you've seen him.
The last time I saw him is when they came back from the cruise and we all went to eat. And he was in the wheelchair. Remember they came back from the cruise? They came back from somewhere. I think it was a cruise. And we all met at the restaurant.
It wasn't when we moved me in here?
No. Did I see your dad?
I know you saw my mom.
I saw mom. I didn't see your dad.
Okay, yeah. So
last time I saw your dad, that's when they came back from the cruise.
And my dad, unfortunately, is, you know, but he's like a cockroach. Like, I love my dad, but he's like a cockroach. He's gonna outlive us all, and he doesn't even have to eat anymore. Like he just. Like my mom feeds him, obviously. Like it's not like he doesn't eat, but you know, she's like, he just like he's losing weight, but he's not doing anything. So he's losing weight because he's not actually like moving, right? And he's basically just a cockroach. Like he just. It's so hard to explain because I sound like an asshole sitting there saying my dad's a cockroach.
I get what you're saying.
My old boss Kevin used to sit there and say that his dad was like a cockroach, just gonna outlive everybody. You know, smoked, drank, did all that stuff, and you know, like was just going to outlive
I
everybody.
don't know. We thought he was too mean to die. That bitch lived to 105. I'm like,
Who did?
like he was like a great uncle. I'm like, and he was mean. He was mean. I'm like, he's too mean to die. He's ornery. The bitch lived to 105.
Yeah, he was doing it out of spite.
Yeah,
You know, like
nowhere.
And you know, like me, I sit there and say I'll outlive certain people because of spite or whatever, and you know, unfortunately, that's not really gonna be true. Like too many health issues going on, but anyways, so anything else happen?
That was probably the biggest thing.
Obviously, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, everything else. Like I said,
Did you play anywhere?
No.
You got any shows coming up?
I ended up going to Hickory. That's right.
So you did play.
I did play because I was on the fence.
You were like I ain't wiping his ass.
No,
so you
no.
got the hell out of town.
Well,
you got out of Dodge.
He had, like Thursday when it happened, they gave us prescription ibuprofen and Tylenol to go back and forth with. But they also,
what's up, Jolo?
They also gave us Oxy. We didn't want to try. We're trying to keep him off of that. So Thursday we had him on rotation.
Did you keep the Oxy for yourself?
No. So he woke me up Friday morning like 4:45 because he was hurting. He woke up hurting. Oh my God! So I sat up with him. Then I had to work all day, and then we went to bed. And he did the same thing again Saturday morning and woke me up. So I sat up with him, did my 2 classes, got done, drove to Hickory. I took a little nap, did my show, and then came back Sunday. So Saturday night, I'm like, well, the doctor said to give it to him at night. I said, so we're trying to, I said, give it to him tonight. And she said, he slept through the night like a baby. So I'm like, all right, he didn't wake up and hurt anything. All right, so we're trying to not give it to him. So I think we're only giving it to him 2 nights.
It's just the Oxy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying not to.
Oxy's weird, man. Like, and they
knocked his ass out.
So, there's a show on Hulu called Dope Sick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about, like, how Oxy became, like, the drug that, like, people that were on heroin would sit there and take because they couldn't get heroin. Or it put them onto heroin because they couldn't afford Oxy anymore. Because, like, the way that Oxy actually started was it started as, like, a 5 milligram pill. Then all of a sudden, for the family that developed the drug, they all of a sudden introduced a 10 milligram pill. Then when people got used to the 10 milligram pill, they introduced a 20 milligram pill. And they went all the way up to like 160 milligrams. Now, when I had my 2 teeth pulled, they gave me Oxy, right? I'll even start further back. When I had my heart surgery, they gave me Oxy, right? And it was, so the way that the regimen was on painkillers when I got my heart surgery, and this was damn near 7 years ago. 7 years ago at this point. 7 years ago, December 18th is when it happened. They would do a morphine, and then like 2 hours later, when the pain came back, they would go, okay, well, we can't give you any more morphine, but we can give you Oxy. So they give you Oxy. Well, then the pain would come back 2 hours later, and they're like, well, we can't give you anything for another 2 hours when we can give you morphine again. And it's like, well, what can you give me? And they're like, well, we can get... No, they ended up giving something. So there was like 4 different painkillers that they could give on a rotation. 3 days into it, when they were like, we can't give you anything right now. You got to wait 2 hours until you get it. I was like, okay, here's the deal. You're not giving me anything else except for Tylenol. Anytime I ask for a painkiller, I want Tylenol going forward. And they're like, why is that? Like, we gotta get your pain under control. I was like, I'll get my pain under control. You don't give me anything other than Tylenol going forward. And they're like, you're not helping your situation. I'm like, oh, I'm helping my situation. They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I haven't had painkillers for 2 hours now, and I'm sweating, and I'm cold, and I'm hot, and I'm jittery. So you know what that means? I'm in withdrawals. And I need either a painkiller or I need to stop taking painkillers. And I don't care how much it hurts. I want you to just give me Tylenol. And they're like, okay. And when they would come in and they'd be like, what's your pain like? I'd be like, it's like an 8. And they're like, do you want something? I'm like, Tylenol. And they're like, sir, you realize that we get, and I'm like, yeah, and I realize you'll get me hooked. And I don't want that. Like I don't mind if all of a sudden I have a tooth pulled and they go, hey, here's 3 days worth of Oxy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oxy or Percocet is what they usually give.
Absolutely, right? And or even if you get like a really bad case of bronchitis, they give you like the oxycodone version of like what the fuck, Dimetap, pretty much, you know. And you're like yeah, just whatever. But the thing is that like I'm one of the, and I'm not the type of person that I feel like gets addicted to most stuff. You know, I like drinking, but I didn't have a drink last night. I didn't have a drink 2 nights ago. I'm like, whatever. I just go do my thing, whatever. But when it comes to that, and they're like, oh, every 2 hours we go ahead and we give you a different, like at some point my body's gonna be like, you know, like Ric Flair, like, woo!
I had strep, something in my throat. It was like strep.
Yeah, they probably gave you like the Dimetap with fucking, what they give you? What they give you?
The lollipops with the cocaine.
Not cocaine.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
I bet those shits were good.
Oh.
Well, and I'll be real with you. Like, if marijuana becomes legal in North Carolina, I'll have no problem sitting there saying, hey, now that it's legal, I don't mind taking, you know, like a gummy or a chew or anything like that. I don't like the flavor. You can taste the pot.
I had one kid and it was good.
Well, it probably didn't have much in it. That's either way. But again, like, you know, like,
yeah, but that
like Fubar and I used to sit there, like I got Percocets for something. Oh, when my knee was really bad. My knee's still really bad. But
you know, Fubar popping Percocets.
But
oh my
Fubar
God.
and I were popping Percocets, playing video games, and drinking at the same time. And all of a sudden, like, it felt like the fucking Matrix, dude. I was like, and my mom saw it. My mom took the entire bottle and threw them away.
But she did.
You know how much that thing was probably worth? That bottle was probably, like, nowadays standards, that bottle was probably worth like $1,000. But anyway, let's see what's in the chat. We got Chris Barrett saying, I mean, were you really a celebrity in the 90s if you weren't taking Oxy just because? Oh, codeine. Yeah, codeine and everything. Yeah. What's funny is I don't think any doctor ever gave me codeine. Like the Tylenol with codeine, and I never got any of that. Yeah. When pot becomes legal, it becomes less fun.
Who said that?
Chris Barrett. You know it was Chris. Come on. Yeah. Michael Turner and Joe Lowe aren't going to say that shit.
I know better.
Yeah, but so anyways, so nothing else going on in the fam.
No, it's overseas.
So what's up with me? The reason why we started a little bit late tonight, I will admit, my fault. Totally my fault. Tino was playing. I almost went to go see Tony. That's why I mentioned Tony. Because you ever play the Dark Pictures video games? Mm-hmm. So you ever played Until Dawn on the PlayStation?
I might have.
Because if you have PlayStation Plus, it's free now to download. Oh, well, it's free on the PS5. I don't know if it's free on the PS4. But the Dark Picture games are made by the same people. So the same guys that made The Quarry that I played a couple of months ago, they make the series called the Dark Pictures series. And they have a new game coming out tomorrow. And I didn't realize it was coming out tomorrow. And then all of a sudden I saw something that said, hey, come get your copy that you pre-ordered. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I just bought God of War, right? So what I've been doing, I've been playing God of War.
Yes.
And just to give people an idea, the game came out last Wednesday. Came out last Wednesday, so it's been out just over a week now. And Thursday, I think I streamed for like 4 hours. Sunday, I streamed for 8 hours.
Oh, shit.
Tuesday, I streamed for 6 hours. I've literally streamed that game like 20 hours on my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Rob Potsy Podcheck. I literally have streamed it for like 20 something hours. And I asked my buddy Ellery, because he plays WWE Supercard with me. I was like, so how far am I? And he goes, oh, I'm much further than you.
In God of War?
Yeah. And I was like, I feel like I've been playing the shit out of this game. And he's saying he's a lot further than me. And I'm like, so how far am I? He goes, you're probably only like 33% through the game. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay. Because I'm trying to do a lot of the side quests and stuff, because in God of War, when you're playing the game, if you really want to have the advantage in the game, you've got to play the side quests so you get all the good armor and you can upgrade the armor, so that way when you go up against the bad boss fights, you have a chance. Okay? So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I've streamed like 20 hours of the game, and apparently streaming 20 hours of the game is only like a third of the way through. Now, people that blast through just the single player on it, I think they've said it's about 36 hours.
Okay.
So the studio has basically said, yeah, we really have no intentions of making another God of War game at this point. And the reason why is because they're like, if we try to make this a trilogy, it's going to take 5 or more years to make the next game. Because it took 4 years for this game to come out.
Oh, shit.
Which means by the time the next one comes out, they'll have a new, a PS6 out and whatever. So like they're like, we're not necessarily gonna do that. We've already got our hands in like 3 other projects or whatever. But game's fucking phenomenal, folks. Like if you haven't played God of War or God of War Ragnarok, which is the new one, like you need to. Those games are just A, they're goddamn gorgeous. B, they're just like the gameplay. If there was one argument I had about the gameplay, it's that when they came to the PS4 and did God of War, they added a full 360 camera, right? Which they never had before that. When they went to that, if an enemy is sitting there attacking you and you like dodge, you don't turn to look at that enemy directly. You're still in the direction that you were in. And that's the one thing that like angers me, is the fact that like I don't just instantly turn and start looking at that guy again. Even if I put aim assist on, it doesn't do that. No. So and I play on like the middle level. I don't play on the highest level. I don't play on the lowest level. I play like right on the middle, because I'm like, I want to get through the game. I'm 44 years old. I want to be able to finish the game.
Put it on easy.
What's that?
Put it on easy.
So some of them I do. When I'm like, okay, I just want to get through this game and I want to feel the whole story. Like at this point, if I were to play Assassin's Creed, if I were to play Assassin's Creed, play from the very beginning to where it is now, I would probably put them all on like the easiest possible level, because it's more about watching the story play out.
Mm-hmm. With
God of War, you still want some of that combat and some of that, like, because you don't want the game to be over. You don't want to get through it in 36 hours. You literally go, I paid $70 for this bitch. I want to be able to play $70 worth. Because let's be real, when you play Call of Duty, do you ever feel like you got your $70 worth?
I'll finish that bitch in 2 days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I've got the new one.
Call of Duty.
Yep. Haven't played it yet, because I'm playing God of War. But the Dark Pictures game comes out tonight at midnight, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna have to wait. I haven't told Tony. I'm like, I'm not picking my copy up yet. He goes, that's no problem. Don't worry. Okay, cool. When it comes to comic book stuff, just a quick update on that. Got page 7 of Immortal. Been coloring that. Just got asked by the publisher if I wanted to do a retail incentive variant cover for Biden's Titans, which I've been working on all day after I got off work.
Is that yours?
What's up?
Is that yours?
No.
Okay.
It's one of the it's one of the publisher's titles.
Yeah, I don't remember that. You taught them.
No, it's one of the political satires that they do. The retail incentive cover basically means that retailers have to order a certain amount of copies to be able to get any of this one for free. The interesting thing is that like even without having the artwork, because this is the fake news cover, except now they call it the real news cover because it's when it was Trump's Titans, they called it the fake news cover because he always said everything was fake news. Now that it's Biden's Titans, they call it the real news cover.
Gotcha.
But they wanted me to do something. Have you heard of Dark Brandon?
No.
Okay. Hey, if you guys have heard about this, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's basically like a super powered version of Joe Biden, but he's evil, right? So he's got glowing eyes, and he's like super like.
And is that the one you text me?
Yes. So I've already texted it over to Tino. I will probably show it off to people, but I feel like I can't sign the artwork because I'm known for doing a kid's book. So me sitting there saying, yeah, I'll do the cover or whatever, like I'm like, does it hurt my image? Does it do this? Does it I don't know.
I think that shows your versatility.
It does, but
because the thing about it is it escapes me. Immortal, is that really a kid friendly?
No.
You know what I mean?
And Immortal's not meant to be, but Immortal's meant to be a standardized comic book that people of a mature level could be able to read. I mean, the word fuck shows up in that book. Well, hell, I say fuck 18 times during an episode of the show now, which we didn't used to do.
No, it used to be PG.
We used to, like, when we were on iTunes, we really kept it, like...
I don't know when it changed.
When we went to YouTube.
Did I say? I think no. I started saying where the fuck did Joe come from? But we would always say this is my one for the day.
Remember? Exactly. There was one.
Yeah.
We stayed PG-13 because we were like, nope, we get one. And you would drop it, and I'd be like, shit, you just used the only one that we shit.
It's like that OTX thing.
Hey, shit is allowed to be used in PG-13, but
it's
like only one F-bomb. I think it's now 2 F-bombs, but they have to be spread out. They can't be like 2 right after each other. Anyways, but yeah, so I've been working on this cover and that's actually why I was late, was because as I kept like when I'm doing a cover for the publisher, I sit there and I send him like instantly. I'll be like, okay, this is what I've got so far. What do you think? And he was like, oh, I like that. Okay, cool. And then I would start coloring it. And then I send him the color version. And he's like, oh, it's too light. And I'm like, what do you mean it's too light? Like, what? And then we went back and forth. Like, and every time I turned around and I was like asking him about it, he's like, oh, could you do this? Could you do that? So I added like this glowing green, like power around him. And he's like, no, I really don't like that. And I'm like, okay. So I took that out. Then he's like, okay, add more darkness to like his face because he's supposed to be like a Sith Lord. Okay. So I'm like, okay, so I add more to the grimacing look and everything else, and then he's like, could you have the green glow back to? And I'm like, you son of a bitch! Like I just took that out. Luckily, when it comes to Procreate, I just click off on that filter, and I can turn it right back on, so I can sit there and go, yeah, there you go, right?
Got it.
But I was like, okay, no, I can't do that right now. It's probably going to wait until tomorrow because I've got to get home so I can actually do the show. Because I was out hanging out with my buddy Matt Torres, who I hadn't seen in a little while. And he literally messaged me at like 4 o'clock today. And that's why earlier today I was like, Tino, don't worry. I'll be home. I'll be ready to play. I'll be ready to do the show because I'll be playing God of War. And then I got a message, but I let you know. So, but Immortal's coming along. Rob Nico says that he's been working on pages 8 and 9. So we're almost halfway through the first issue. Today, interestingly enough, the other thing that I started doing was trying to develop a more comic book centric font that is dyslexia friendly.
Cool.
So I'm doing that myself. Like,
nice. That's awesome.
I didn't realize it was technically as easy as it is. We'll see how well it comes out. And I'll have to test it by sending it to a friend or two that are dyslexic and see what they actually think about it. But I downloaded the template for it today. I'm gonna take a couple visions of different comic book, like typical comic book fonts, and actually sit there and start playing with those and see what we can come up with. So that way it's not stealing their font or whatever, but it's actually like creating a font from scratch. And it's a lot of hard work. It's not like people are like, oh, it's so easy to create your own font. It's like, yeah, I guess it is, but it's not.
Okay.
You know, like so it with this, I want it to look like a comic book font. So I want to start with a comic book font. Well, I can't find like a layout of an actual comic book font that I can dump into the program to sit there and go, okay, this is where we start from. Now let me go ahead and add in the dyslexia-friendly elements to it and see if it works.
Got it.
That's what's making it so difficult. So we'll see where I go with it, but I'm happy with where I've started. So it's going to be a project. Mm-hmm. But interestingly enough, the artist Rob Nico was actually saying to me, he's like, "Would you want me to try to make Immortal dyslexia friendly?" And I don't want to use the same font that we used in junior high horrors because the font is bigger and it's wider and all this other. And I was like, I want Immortal to be readily accessible to to all readers, but I want it to look like a comic book.
Yeah.
Whereas junior high horrors was meant to look like an all ages or and we've discussed that the dyslexia friendly font looked kind of weird and stuff, but it was okay with that book because that book looked kind of weird and everything else, so it kind of fit with the whole aesthetic. So this is going to be like taking the weighting of the lines and stuff and making sure that like each letter has its own weighting, so that way if somebody reads it, they go, oh, I get that that's that letter, whatever, but still look like I can shrink it down to normal comic book font and go from there with it. So we'll see if it actually happens. If it doesn't, oh well. Immortal's first book was not dyslexia friendly. If I could make the new one dyslexia friendly, it would be the first like action comic book that is that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, I started playing with that today too, and so still jumping into a bunch of stuff that I probably know nothing about.
Cool.
You ready to talk about?
Yes.
Tino's ready to talk about wrestling, guys. You guys ready to talk about wrestling? We're not going to talk about this, so we're just going to leave this with the what's up with you. For most of it, we might put up AEW Dynamite's thing when we actually go over what's going to happen at Full Gear.
Watch a lot.
Tino didn't get to watch a lot because obviously with Matthew's injury. At the same time, there are some things specific to pro wrestling that we do want to talk about. Like, for example, we did not talk about the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view.
Okay.
Crown Jewel. Logan Paul.
I didn't even know he blew his knee in the middle of that match. I don't even know where he blew his knee in the middle of the match. Do you?
No, and you didn't see it.
And that's a tough son of a bitch.
That's the difference between pro wrestling and any other sport when it comes to an MCL or ACL injury. In fact, you hurt your MCL.
I tore this leg. I tore the ACL, MCL, and the meniscus.
And when you did it,
I was not getting up.
But if you had like adrenaline going through you,
yeah,
do you think you would have even noticed it?
No.
Like you'd have been like, I just hear pop.
Yeah. you heard and felt it. But like, okay, if you were like adrenaline, probably not.
And you probably get through the match, and then all of a sudden, like, and then no, it would have been like a, oh man, boom.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what that felt like, but
knee swole instantly.
So I gotta ask you, Logan Paul's been in 3 matches now.
Okay.
Jake Paul apparently was part of this match, but Logan Paul's been in 3 matches. What's his name? Pat McAfee has been in 3 matches as well, because he did 2 matches in NXT and he did the WrestleMania match.
Yes.
Technically, he did 2 matches at WrestleMania. He beat Austin Theory, but then lost to Mr. McMahon.
Yes.
Because him and Michael Cole were talking about that on the Pat McAfee show.
Oh.
And he's like, well, Cole, you're undefeated at WrestleMania, and so am I. And he's like, no, you're not. And he's like, yeah, yes, I am. And he goes, no, you lost to Mr. McMahon. And he goes, that was an unsanctioned match, so that doesn't count. And he goes, the chairman of the board beat you in a match. He's the one that gets to say whether or not it's unsanctioned. Yeah, and he goes, well, we both had matches at WrestleMania. But I gotta ask, after watching the 3 matches with Pat McAfee and the 3 matches with Logan Paul, who is the better celebrity wrestler?
Yeah.
Or do you consider either or both of them WWE superstars now?
I would think simply because Logan really, he didn't have. I mean, he's done
3 matches,
but like outside of that,
well, but think of who his 3 matches are with.
The Miz,
right?
Roman.
Well, that was the most recent one, and Sammy and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Like, he literally has gone up against the elite of the elite in WWE.
That's a match he did. What, Cole?
Well, he went up against the entire Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Stone Cold. No, I don't want to say Stone Cold.
Austin Theory. And Mr. McMahon.
Then you put it that way, it'd have to be Logan Paul.
Because he went up against the world champion.
And like you said, Zayn and Owens. I mean, you're right. That's cream of the crop, top of the top.
It really is.
And hung with them.
It really is. And like Jake. So the rumor is now that Logan and Jake are going to tag team when Logan is good to go against the Usos.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now, I will say that the first knockout punch from Jake Paul in that match was great. The second one missed by a mile.
Not so much, yeah.
So good old, I don't even remember which Uso. I think it was Jay that went down second. He took one for the team, but it didn't look good. It did not. But I will say, without a doubt, the Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns match, by the end of the match, I was scared for Roman, because I was like, there is a possibility.
Because he did land that punch.
Well, it wasn't even the landing the punch. It was after landing the punch, he continued to do stuff. And then he grabbed his phone and did the selfie. Dude, that thing's got like 3 million views on Instagram now. Like, it is just insane what that created for the WWE. I don't know what his contract is.
Well, he's not gonna hit. He's got a.
Well, I don't know how much money he's making. Is what I'm saying.
Lesnar kind of. He comes.
Oh,
special. You know, he's a novelty.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But if you were to sit there and say he's going to go up against Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title tomorrow, or is it the U.S. title? U.S. title. If he's going to go up against Seth Rollins, and I know he's injured, but if he were to go up against Seth Rollins tomorrow for the Intercontinental title, I think he wins.
Yeah.
Like, I think Logan Paul all of a sudden starts showing up on Instagram with the Intercontinental title all over the fucking world. And why would you not do that?
Yeah.
Hell, rumor came out this week that Triple H and WWE Creative actually came up with a way that they could have gotten one of the belts off of Roman Reigns at Cardiff when he went up against Drew McIntyre.
I see that.
And it was supposed to be Drew McIntyre would pin Austin Theory. But because he pinned Austin Theory after Austin Theory cashed in the Money in the Bank, it was only for one of the belts. That would have worked.
So he cashed in.
So Clash at the Castle, not the recent one.
Okay.
So when Tyson Fury came up and punched Austin Theory out, knocked him out, and then Roman ended up winning the match.
Mm-hmm.
If they had gone a different direction, Tyson Fury doesn't show up, Austin Theory comes in, enters the match, becomes a three-way dance. Roman doesn't lose, but loses one of the belts because the Money in the Bank was for only one of the championships.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Why the fuck didn't they do it?
Because they had to have Tyson Fury in the UK.
Yeah, but they still could have done that. Because if he had knocked out Austin Theory, Drew McIntyre pulls Austin Theory back into the ring. 1, 2, 3. Match is over.
Yeah.
But instead they went, nope, we're going to keep both belts on Roman. Keep him super strong, blah, blah. But if they made it for the Raw title, the streak is still intact. Because Roman won the...
Well, but he's got his two belts. Those have their two belts. I think that's what they're trying to...
I agree. And I even think that this new thing that they're doing, the World Cup that they're doing, I think Solo Sikoa is going to win it.
And get one belt.
No, he's going to get the World Cup thing that they got. You know, they create weird championship things just so they can get... Like Owen Hart. The 2-time Slammy Award winner.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't hold a belt.
Yeah.
Right? So I totally think that I think it should happen, but it could be Braun Strowman that wins that because, I mean, like, Braun versus everybody else in that thing, you're like, yeah, Braun wins. But if the entire bloodline comes down to make sure that Solo wins it,
Braun can still take out the whole song.
I don't think you want Braun taking out the entire... like the whole point of the bloodline is that they're super strong. So
wouldn't that make Braun look weak?
I don't think so. Not if he loses to the entire bloodline.
Okay.
You know, like he. Otherwise, I mean, like, does it matter if Mansoor isn't that? Does it matter if like Braun beat Jinder Mahal, who they're voicing as what, a 2-time world champion now?
And speaking of Mansoor, that brings me back to that whole thing.
LA Knight.
Yeah, and guess who apparently is going to be his first, what do you call it? Rivalry.
His first feud?
First feud. They're wasting my man.
Are they wasting him, or is he good enough to actually get himself over during it?
No, they're wasting Bray.
No. Not at all.
They're wasting his first feud. I mean,
no.
They haven't built. They need to build. You know, I love LA Knight, but they need to build him up more to bring him up to Bray's level. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. When did Triple H come up?
When
was he coming up? Like Intercontinental Championships and stuff like that. When was he coming up?
Yes.
Which was?
Shawn Michaels. No, which was what?
What was the era?
Well, Attitude Era.
There you go. Okay. So in that era, was he over when all of a sudden he started going up against Rocky Maivia?
No.
Was he over when he started going against Mankind?
I see what you're saying. Okay. But Rocky Maivia wasn't over like Bray.
But my point is that this new version of Bray isn't as over as Fiend Bray, isn't as over as backwoods cool talking Bray. This literally is the third face of Foley from Bray. right? But where I'm going with this is that Triple H is trying to figure out a way to get multiple people over in in solitary feuds, right? So putting LA Knight against him means that you have, and you've said this, the best of The Rock, the best of Stone Cold in one guy.
Yes.
Going up against probably the New Age Mankind.
Okay.
So, all in all, if they play their feud right,
okay,
they both should get over.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if LA Knight plays his cards right, he will lose every single match in this feud as the heel, and yet still make you think he's a dastardly son of a bitch.
He can do it. If anybody can do it, he can do it.
Whereas if they really want Bray over as the big time Mankind babyface or Cactus Jack babyface that he was at Royal Rumble 2001, when you know like Triple H ended up almost bleeding out. If they really wanted to get to that level, like LA Knight should be the guy that can do that, as long as they cohesively work and allow the storyline to naturally take shape. You can't
force it.
You can't force it. You can't rush it. But I did find it a little bit weird when Bray gave LA Knight the headbutt.
Yeah.
And then disappeared. And LA Knight got up and he was like, yeah. He didn't. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Like he got up and he's like, where that son of a bitch go?
Where did he go?
Like I would have had LA Knight sit there and get, like, for the feud to be proper, the bad guy's got to get over. Mm-hmm. And the bad guy's got to get over on the good guy. So he's got to take him out. I think that's what we're going to build to. I think that was the first shot. I bet you LA Knight one-ups him this week. You know what I'm saying? And you're probably right. But I'm interested in where it goes.
Yes.
I'm interested to see what happens with Shelton Benjamin right now. Like, are they going to bring back Via Vidal or whatever her name was? That was his.
I think they were supposed to make him and Truth a tag team.
Well, but Truth blew out his knee.
Yeah.
So they could bring back Cedric.
I love them bring back Charlie Haas. That'd be awesome.
Oh my God.
They probably won't, but that'd be awesome.
I don't know if Charlie Haas wrestles anymore, but yeah, I'd be okay with that. But I would be okay with Cedric finally. And now with Bobby going heel, Hurt Business coming back, baby. And
get rid of Omos.
No. Let Omos be the number 4. Dude. He's so okay. I'm gonna tell you. Well, his match against Braun Strowman in Saudi Arabia was a good match. Yeah. I would say at this point, what you do is you make him the Steve Mongo McMichael in the 4 Horsemen.
Okay.
And has there ever been a black 4 Horsemen?
No.
But the Hurt Business would be.
Yeah. Okay.
You put gold on Bobby, and you have Cedric and Shelton going after the tag titles, and suddenly, like with Omos in their corner, I don't care if Solo Sikoa's in the corner. I don't care if Sami Zayn's in the corner. Omos going to take out both those dudes.
Yeah.
And if they don't, MVP's going to get in Paul Heyman's face. I love it.
So you have MVP's more of the
mouthpiece. Yeah, the J.J. Dillon, absolutely. I mean, he doesn't really want to wrestle anymore. Yeah. He does it because it's like, well, I got a performer contract.
Yeah.
Like, they want me walking out with my cane and whatever. I'll do it, but
he takes bumps. I don't think he does.
But I mean, like, he can.
Yeah.
But the other, like, almost makes sense in that group. And I hate to say it because I already told you that during the entire pandemic, they just had the black wrestlers facing the black wrestlers, which I don't think Triple H would have done. I do think that was a Vince McMahon decision. But regardless, I don't want to get into that. I do think that, like, them as Bobby, Omos, Shelton, and Cedric with MVP. Oh my God, guys! Tell me that would not be a dominant faction on Raw specifically. Like you'd have Judgment Day that would be scared of them, and you'd have
the OC,
and you'd have the OC scared of them because they've got more members, more male members, and you're like, okay, Rhea Ripley is dangerous, but I'm not scared of Dominic when I've got Omos on my team. We've seen Omos versus the Mysterios.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would love that. And I just thought about that tonight. But I would love it.
All right.
Do you agree?
That'd be interesting, yeah.
It'd be fun to watch. And Omos could learn how to be the next Batista.
Something, yeah. I just don't see it in the
Because in that group, Bobby is the Triple H, right?
Okay. Who's the Flair?
Maybe Bobby's the Flair? Maybe there isn't a Flair. Because Flair technically, I guess, was the J.J. Dillon at that point. He wasn't wrestling as much, but he was still...
Orton, Batista, and Triple H.
And Flair.
So...
And at one point, they had... Oh, wait, no, that was Legacy.
Who was Orton? Who would be Orton?
I would say Cedric.
Cedric or...
Omos?
No. Shelton.
See, I would say Shelton's technically the Ric Flair in the group because he's the oldest of the group and has the most experience. Doesn't have the most championships.
So Triple H would be Lashley? Okay, you're saying Omos is Batista.
And Omos is Batista. Omos is easily Batista.
Okay.
And Orton actually as Cedric makes a lot of sense.
All right, let's roll on.
All right. Trying to think of what to talk about. Kevin Owens apparently injured himself during a house show.
He was supposed to be in the War Games. He's supposed to be the other member in War Games.
He may still be. I don't know what the injury is. I don't know how severe it is.
It's a knee.
And they said it might
sprained his knee or something.
They said it might be severe, but Kevin Owens is one of those guys that if they want him in there, he's going to be there. I mean, heck, he did the War Games in NXT when he was a main roster guy, right? And he even said, when they want me on NXT, I'm going to come back to NXT. Okay, cool. War Games, specifically, right now, it's looking like it's going to be the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, and Owens is supposed to be on that team. That's the team he's supposed to be on.
So who would the
Bloodline and Sami Zayn?
Oh, and Sammy. Do you think that would be where Sammy actually turns? I think it's too early. I think they could leave Sammy in there for a year.
I don't think they want to leave him in that long.
I don't think they didn't. They basically said that the reason why Kevin Owens has been kept off TV is because they wanted like him and Sammy to be a tag team like 3 weeks after he joined the Bloodline. But and I told you off air, and I'll say it on air now. You know, Jey Uso's so mad at Sammy being part of the Bloodline now that the best thing they could possibly do is have The Rock's daughter go to the main roster and have Sami Zayn marry her to join the Bloodline and actually be blood at that point, right? Because he would be related. Yeah, she does.
What did you think the last one? So last 2 weeks ago when I made you watch it, because you hadn't seen it. What'd you think? Because you were telling me
You're absolutely right. There's something, and it's almost like she just had new teeth installed. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to say anything bad about The Rock because Young Rock has been really good for season 3.
I need to check. I had to start watching.
There's only 2 episodes in, so I would wait a little while. Either way, another thing I want to talk about: Britt Baker
That promo.
versus Saraya. Which promo are you talking about?
The Brit promo.
So not the Saraya one from last week.
Oh, we'll start off last week. We'll start with that one because that led to the Brit one this week.
It really did.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you see the same thing that I do in that. Folks, I'm sorry we're not taking a look at the chat. I really haven't been paying attention because we got a lot to talk about, and we want to keep the show like relatively normal time frame. Michael Turner's asking who's the last woman in the War Games.
I don't know yet. I know they picked up Mia Yim on Belair's team.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
And then
but I think I think Dana Brooke is going to be on that team, and I think that it's going to be so the other team is Damage Control and
Nikki
Cross, and I would assume they're just going to have. I mean, it could be someone as simple as Sasha Banks because it's Bailey.
I think her team's full. The only Belair's team isn't full yet.
Well, hold on.
You got Damage Control.
But they don't have me.
3. No, so you got Damage Control.
And then Nikki.
Did they have somebody? And they picked up Rhea.
Did they?
Yeah, Rhea.
Okay, so their team's full.
Yeah, Rhea walked up to him and it was pretty much, but who pissed her off? She's like, yeah, I'm in there.
So the other team isn't. It'll be Charlotte.
Oh, it's Mia because Mia joined the team, and that's why Rhea met them backstage and said, if Mia's on their team, I'm on your team. You got a problem with that? They're like, no.
But then there's one opening on
Belair. That's what I'm saying. So you think Dana Brooke's going to fill that?
No, Dana Brooke makes the most sense because she just lost to Nikki, but I could totally see it being one of those things where Dana Brooke is in the team, and then all of a sudden at the premium live event, they knock her out backstage, and it's either Becky or Charlotte.
They did that in NXT with Dakota Kai, and remember?
Yeah, but the people that watch NXT don't necessarily watch the main. But it happens all the time. Yeah. And this would be like War Games is the prime event to sit there and bring back a.
I bet it's going to be Becky. I bet you're right.
Or Charlotte.
Becky makes more sense.
Charlotte's not hurt.
Becky makes more sense.
Agreed.
Because they started that because the only reason she wasn't on that, only reason Alexa Bliss is there is because Becky got hurt. Becky makes more sense.
Yeah, and I do think that as soon as Becky comes back, they can put Alexa into the Bray Wyatt story.
Yes.
And imagine how much the roof is going to blow off if all of a sudden the last person announced to go in, or even to start the War Games match, because they bring everybody out, they put them in those cages, and what if the last person, who's the first person that's supposed to be in the match, all of a sudden, whoa, and it's like the man, Becky Lynch, and before you know it, she comes out, like that place would blow the roof off. I totally agree. I think Charlotte would do the same thing, but in terms of babyface, I totally think Becky Lynch would get that pop. And they may hold Charlotte off until Royal Rumble, probably. So.
But anyway, go back to the
Britt Baker, Saraya.
How about you? Because I don't remember the Saraya. I remember bits and pieces.
So the Saraya promo, she started with "I'm cleared."
Yes.
So she actually started with, I went, I had MRIs done, I had doctor's appointments, I had this, I had that, and the problem for Britt is that I'm cleared. And the crowd was like, oh, shit! And then she went.
But you noticed Britt, the whole promo, even she's like, yeah, I've had drug addiction. I've come about that. And Britt's like, and Britt almost looked lost. You know what I'm saying? It almost looked, because Saraya was just going off.
So,
I was watching Britt's expression.
Here's the whole thing about that. Everything that Saraya said, I did this. I had an addiction that I overcame. I came back. I I was this. I was this. I was this. I was this. And Britt let her say all of it. And then Britt sat there and said, okay. Well, now that you said everything, like, and she pretty much just let her say it, right? And just when you thought that Britt was going to try to take advantage of it, Saraya hit her with like that package DDT or Page Turner, I guess. But now they have to change the name.
Yeah.
But overall, if you listen to the crowd, because I've watched it twice now, if you listen to the crowd during that whole thing, at the beginning, they're totally like, yeah, Saraya's back. But when Saraya sat there and yelled, this is my house, that crowd turned on her. That crowd started chanting DMD. And the reason why is because the promo we got this week. So it took an entire week for Britt Baker to respond, really. But when she did, she said, you know what? I respect you for overcoming your addiction. I respect you for being the trailblazer. I respect you for headlining, for being at WrestleMania. I respect you for having this, for having that, for doing this, for doing that. I respect you for all that. But you know what? I wasn't given anything. When we needed to do stuff, we did. Me and the crowd. We did this. We did this. We were at Daly's place when the world needed entertainment and there was nothing going on. And by the way, you'll never know that situation. They pulled a double turn without even realizing they pulled a double turn. And I say without even realizing it because Britt is supposed to be the heel.
But you notice at the end she goes, that's why they say with me when I and they do, even when she was ill.
Well, and you hate when I bring up Busted Open. But if Britt Baker were to come out on Saturday night wearing a DMFND shirt that was in the classic ECW, ECFNW, if it's at DMFND, because she's the doctor of medical fucking dentistry. Like, if she were to wear that, it's because she has the crowd behind her. ECW, the crowd was behind the wrestlers. They used to do this thing in ECW. Tino, I don't even know if you know this because I don't know how much ECW used to watch. But if they didn't like somebody that came out and started talking about themselves, the crowd would turn around. They would literally turn their backs to, and it was the same as changing the channel. We don't accept you. You are not one of us.
They did a Dreamer.
They did, but then Dreamer gained their respect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
By taking the 10 slashes. If AEW was correct and they're smart on this match will start with Saraya being the babyface, but by the end of it, Britt won't give up and she'll be bleeding out of her face. It'll be the Bret Hart Stone Cold match. And if they do it right, Britt Baker will be the second biggest babyface in the business on their side, behind the guy who is currently their biggest babyface who doesn't want to be a babyface.
MJ.
Yeah.
I don't see something didn't look right.
You know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that Stokely and the boys are going to pin down Moxley and cause MJF to win that match.
Or help him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Him running them off Wednesday, that looked fake as shit.
He kicked at least 3 of them in the nuts.
that look fake. And he's like, yeah, and you guys don't go, I'll break my foot. And I'm like, you're talking
You're talking it up a little too much.
Yeah, and I think it's set up.
Did you see how swole he was though?
In that shirt, yeah.
Like, I mean, he couldn't run because he had.
My favorite though, if you notice how when he got that ring.
And he kept putting his hand up to Regal.
That and how I didn't notice it at first, but Regal smooth reached in and pulled his. He had the brass nuts on his side, and I didn't see him take him out. But I noticed that he was standing there. He had him on his. I'm like, oh.
You know what my favorite part of that entire promo was? John Moxley sitting there going, on Sunday when I take it.
Pay-per-view?
Well, hold on. And then later on, because MJF comes out, and he's like, on Saturday in Newark, New Jersey. And then all of a sudden, Moxley grabs the microphone from him, and he's like, on Sunday. Wait a second. When's the pay-per-view? Is it? And I'm like.
And my thing is, I was watching him, and MJF was all, and it's a spit on the top of that microphone. And Moxley's like, I'm like, oh, don't put that in here. I was looking at the spit on the microphone. Yeah. I'm like, now.
Yeah, and you could tell that it was like, I don't know what the situation was with MJF. Like, he was still wearing, like, designer pants.
And a white beater.
And a black wife beater. So you know that he, like, had to, like, clear the clothes off backstage or whatever. But then his hair was messed up. Like, here's a guy that, like, always makes sure that he is prime time for TV. And it kind of looked like Tony said, get the fuck out there and go drop a dime on him.
Yeah.
Like, hit a major promo right now. And he's like, I ain't got nothing right now, boss. You know, like, and he's like, well, take your fucking shirt off and get the fuck out there. Like I don't care if you're wearing wingtips right now. Like, The Rock will slide across the thing and drop an elbow in wingtips. You get out there.
My other favorite part of that show was the Acclaim music video.
Of course it was.
And they had no.
I know what it is. Yeah. Yeah, Captain Insano.
Captain Insano, no, not even that.
The two guys on the couch.
You guys say hyper swerve
with the kitty phones. What the fuck was that all about?
And then Sneaky Swerve had the damn raccoon mask on, and the fake goatee. Dude, and Keith Lee, his shirt was up, and then he was using the big words on the kitty phone. That video, dude,
it's horrible. It
was so funny.
It was horrible, though.
It was so funny,
though. Okay. So, last thing I want to talk about before we give predictions.
Okay. What'd you say? Oh, the Austin Theory. Oh, I thought you wanted to talk Austin Theory. Is that what you want to talk?
Oh, yeah, I kind of do. No, I wanted to talk about Death Triangle and their match.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Austin Theory first. You liked what they did this Monday.
Fire.
Last Monday, we obviously didn't get to talk about it. I felt it was a complete implosion. So last Monday entirely was a complete implosion of Vince McMahon's WWE.
Yep.
Like, without a doubt, it was.
They wiped the slate.
Every single pot, and you got the message from me. I was like, did they just funeral pyre fucking Vince McMahon's WWE? Like, and yes, they set that shit ablaze, and in the worst possible way, Austin Theory lost the Money in the Bank. They could have had him lose it in a match to someone else, kind of like Otis did to Miz last year, and Miz ended up winning the World Championship from it. They could have done anything like that, but instead, they had Austin Theory during an open challenge that never started lose the Money in the Bank. And that actually had me think that Austin Theory would come out this week and be like, Oh no! I didn't actually lose the Money in the Bank. I was joining the open challenge that Bobby Lashley never started, which, by the way, would have made him more of a heel in that moment because he would have still had the Money in the Bank and been in a feud with Seth Rollins. But because Triple H doesn't like these branded pay-per-views of Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank. Like, I think Money in the Bank will still be a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong because WrestleMania could end up having a Money in the Bank
and I
match
think that's
now.
what he wants to go back because that's how it started.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I think that's why he was like, yeah, let's get rid of all that shit. But at the same time, he was like, yeah, we got to get this off Austin Theory because right now people aren't behind him. So let's just get it off of him. However, let me ask you, for folks that actually watched this Monday night, Austin Theory was a badass. He got rid of the selfie phone. He got rid of all that shit. And he literally said, fuck it, I'm going after what I want.
Yep. And I like it.
Did he need to lose the Money in the Bank ladder match or the Money in the Bank briefcase to do that? No.
But you can only have you hold it a year, and he's never going to cash it in.
But that's May to May.
Huh?
That's May to May.
But he's not going to cash it. Roman Reigns is not dropping that belt, and he's not beating Roman Reigns.
But dude, we got like 8 months until May. You could have him sit there and try to cash it in at Royal Rumble after Roman has a great match against somebody else, and then lose.
I guess what I'm saying is he can lose it now or he can lose it then. Either way, he's not winning the world championship.
So I want to look at it 2 ways. Okay, first way I want to look at it is, who is stupid enough to not cash in for the world title? Whether you win or lose.
Okay. He lost it now or lost it then. He was going to lose it. He was going to lose it either way.
But he lost it over a secondary title that nobody cares about.
No, because Roman's got that championship, the United States Championship right now. Unfortunately, even Seth Rollins said this is the championship. So that is their main championship. I see what you're saying, but that's their. So that is like cashing in on a main championship.
So here's the thing, though. Seth won it like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Seth hasn't made that into the world title. He hasn't done what Rob Van Dam or Jerry Lynn did in ECW and made the ECW television title better than the world title. He hasn't done that.
Yeah.
So Austin Theory saying, I want that belt, is basically saying Austin Theory's a pussy and doesn't think he can beat Roman Reigns. And by the way, we know he can't beat Roman Reigns. That's not the point. The point is that the Money in the Bank is supposed to be the ultimate opportunist moment to shine and get the Miz girl reaction from somebody in the audience.
Yes.
Him sitting there coming out and trying to take a belt that doesn't mean anything right now from Seth, who just won it 3 weeks ago, means nothing. Now, to your point, what you just said, Seth sits there and says, this is now the title on Raw. If they had waited a month and had Seth defend every week, and Seth defended against top tier talent, totally agree.
Okay.
Hell, technically 6 months, because I'll tell you, Seth having that belt for 3 weeks still isn't where Gunther is on SmackDown with the Intercontinental belt.
How long's Gunther had that belt?
I don't even remember who he won it from. That shows how long he's had it.
He won it from
Ricochet. Yeah, he did. And I remembered it as you started saying that. But that was 3-4 months ago. I think it has. And if I had to guess, he ain't losing it anytime soon. So, if Austin Theory had actually waited till after a Rey Mysterio match against Gunther and then cashed in for the Intercontinental belt, I would have said that was a. Now, again, I said, let me argue the other point.
Okay.
Raw doesn't have a world champion. The idea of the Money in the Bank holder going against the biggest championship on Raw should elevate the title. It didn't. Unfortunately, it did not. Had he won the title, because here it is, it's a secondary title. I don't care what Seth says. Seth hasn't had the belt long enough to actually sit there and prove that he has made it into the biggest title out there. Had he won the title, even in dastardly fashion, he would have elevated a storyline, which could have elevated the title.
Somebody said something.
Walter and Sheamus is the feud of the year. Right now, I might agree with you because the matches that those two have had, bangers. Like
Bangers.
There is no other word for it except for like straight bangers. Like those two have literally chopped the roast beef off of each other's chests and just pounded each other. Like the fact that Walter, for the first time ever, was like, no, to those chest pounds.
Yes.
Like, I swear to God, man, I've never seen Walter ever look like he was scared of taking a hit from somebody. And you know that it's because Sheamus let him beat the shit out of him with those chops. And he was like, oh, you're going to get it. I mean, he did 15 of those and then pulled him outside the ring and did more. Like those two literally were nothing but a pile of bruise. That's all they were.
Anyway.
But I still have a problem with that. Like, it wasn't good booking. Okay. It wasn't built well. It wasn't distributed well. And it would have been better if Seth had continued to fight back, but then Austin Theory hit him with the A-Town down, 1, 2, 3, walks out with the belt, and then Bobby Lashley is waiting there as he's walking out backwards, and he just walks into the Hurt Lock, and all of a sudden you know that you've got Bobby, Seth, with Austin Theory holding the belt, just like when The Miz held the belt.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, Drew lost the belt to The Miz. Miz is going to lose the belt to Bobby. Like, we didn't like that story, but it worked. Yeah. You know? Okay.
So talk about your trios that you're not happy about. So we can get going.
So AEW about 3 weeks ago started showing these promos where the Elite kept being deleted.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with Matt Hardy.
No.
What the fuck?
Perfect.
Kept deleting them out of the video packages. And then all of a sudden, this week, you're gonna have to explain it because I didn't watch it fully, but I know what it equates to. So
yeah, so they being Death Triangle defended their trios against the two brothers, the Martin brothers,
Dante and
yeah, and then another dude.
Right,
of course they won.
Yeah.
And Pat takes the microphone and he goes, and I hear the rumors. You know, he calls that certain people are going to come back and they want to try to come back and win these belts, and you can come back and try you want. And we're like, what the fuck's he? You kind of knew what he was talking about. Then all of a sudden, they weird ticking sound starts, and they looked up and they had this old stopwatch, and they hit, and then they had the Death Triangle picture and for the poster for the pay-per-view, and it said Trio Championship match, whatever. Had Death Triangle, and there wasn't anything there, and all of a sudden that thing hit 12, just like they had them disappearing. All of a sudden they just kind of reappeared and it was the elite, and the crowd went crazy.
So how do you feel about it?
It's bullshit. They're going to walk back in and just take their belts back. I don't think they should be able to get their EVPs. First of all, I don't think that they got punished as strongly as everybody else. Or we'll take them off of TV for a little bit. You know, they were still getting paid. You know, they still held their positions. They didn't get their positions stripped from them.
They've been off TV for 60 days.
And now they're coming back and going to walk in. And you know they're going to win the fucking belts.
And they immediately walk into a title match.
That they're going to win. Tell me that.
No, I mean, like everything points to them winning. Like the
only reason they lost the belts is because they got suspended. They were never beaten for those belts. So you know they're going to come back. The AVPs, they're going to come back like, yeah, we book ourselves to win.
Well, Tony holds the book, but Tony also, blah, 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 you know, like, and that's like I don't know about all three of them, right?
It's bullshit.
You heard what I said they should do as punishment.
But I don't know what you said.
So, okay. Look back at WWE history. The curtain call.
Yeah.
So that was probably the closest thing to what is the elite.
Yes.
Right? Curtain call was Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels all hugging at Madison Square Garden when the internet was just starting out.
It was a house show.
It was a house show. It was the last time that they were all going to be together. Vince McMahon apparently approved it. But when it ended up on the internet that the good guys were hugging the bad guys.
Yeah, he knew nothing about it.
Well, for years. I mean, like when we first saw the curtain call video, we were like, what the fuck? But I mean, kayfabe was really kayfabe back then. But either way, you also had
somebody had to pay.
Two of those guys ended up on
WCW
within the next 3 weeks.
Shawn Michaels was the champ.
Shawn Michaels was the world champion.
So Triple H had to eat shit.
And Triple H was supposed to
win the King of the Ring.
And who did?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And who ended up becoming the biggest name in pro wrestling history.
316.
Now, granted, I am going to say that when Austin won the King of the Ring, they did not promote him the same way that they promoted others. A lot of people may have revisionist history about this, but his very next pay-per-view was against Savio Vega.
And Stone Cold made himself because, yes, he won that King of the Ring, but what made him was the fucking promo. And he got his lip busted. He came back.
Not just lip busted, he had his tongue cut off.
Doc Hendricks, he came back and said, what happened? And he told him the little promo that Jake the Snake did. So he came off the top of his head and came over the 316, and then a star was born.
Well, it was Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. And then he said, and that's the bottom line,
yes.
Stone Cold said. And it's because they were sitting there trying to get him to go home. And he's like, don't you sass me.
Yeah.
And then he said, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold says.
So what are you thinking? So what are you thinking of the elite? What should they have done? You said it's like.
So what they should have done is they should have punished him on TV. They should have had the three of them doing jobs for 60 days.
Like they did Triple H.
I mean, Triple H didn't necessarily do jobs. Triple H just didn't win the King of the Ring. But
he did jobs too.
He did. I mean, he jobbed to the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah, he was jobbing.
But he jobbed to the Brooklyn Brawler when all of a sudden he married Stephanie McMahon. And it was like, I'm going to put you at the bottom of the list. You're going to go up against the Brooklyn Brawler. And
so what would having them job for 60 days do?
It would put over other people. The problem with where they are in the industry, and I think that this is the difference between them and Cody Rhodes, is Cody Rhodes knows that his place in the industry is as a performer who wants to be the best, but knows his place in line and is willing to wait his turn.
Yes.
Okay? Whereas, and by the way, knowing the legacy of the Rhodes, it's one of those things where he really does know that the top championship belt in the entire industry doesn't matter how big your fucking pay-per-view is, the WWE Championship is still the number one belt. WrestleMania is still the number one show. So him showing up in the middle of the card on the first night of WrestleMania this year is still going to be a bigger thing than any match he'd ever have at AEW until they have proven that they're bigger than WrestleMania, which is never going to happen. The Elite feel like they are bigger than the industry.
They think
I've already told you that when they lost the belts, the tag team titles, and we're talking about the Young Bucks, when they lost the belts to the Lucha Brothers, they put the Lucha Brothers through hell. The Lucha Brothers hit them with multiple finishers, and they kept kicking out. And it wasn't until their own thing with the shoe with the loaded shoe that they finally won, and they didn't even get hit by the side with the thumbtacks. They got hit by the other side of the shoe. The Lucha Brothers, who both wear fucking masks, were bleeding profusely.
Yes.
And they got their asses kicked, and yet they won the match. So it was like, oh yeah, we put them over. Bitch, you didn't put anybody over. You literally sat there and said, we're going to give you the belts, but we don't need the belts because we're bigger than the belts, and we're bigger than you. And that's been the problem with the Elite all along. And in fact, when we were sitting there in the movie theater watching the last pay-per-view, and Kenny Omega sat there and said, I dare anybody in the back to sit there and beat that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Swerve and Our Glory and the Acclaimed
beat that.
Yeah. And they did because the crowd got behind that match, because the crowd was ready for this, and they were ready for the Acclaim to win. Nobody cared in the trios match that the Dark Order and Hangman Page didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care that Kenny and the Bucks won.
Mm-hmm.
And it still upset me the Wednesday night that Hangman and the Dark Order didn't even get to fight for those belts. It was literally the Best Friends versus the Death Triangle, and it was like, why the fuck are they going for it when they weren't even in the finals? Like who cares? You know what? Why isn't Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, like, why were they in that match? Why wasn't and they claimed that like John Silver had a knee injury or something. Well, but the Dark Order has like 8 members.
Yeah.
So why not just put another guy in there?
Johnny Hungy is probably the most over.
Johnny Hungy is the most over besides Adam Page. But it doesn't matter. Like that showed how little they thought of those trios championships when the Elite didn't have them.
Well,
like if Johnny Hungy couldn't wrestle that night, and they said we're gonna have the Dark Order versus the Dark Order with Adam Hangman Page versus Death Triangle for those belts, Johnny Hungy would, like, if you do it correctly, would have been like, I can't go. So we're gonna have -1 go out there for me. Or what, you know, like, and I'm kidding with -1, but they would have been like 10 can go out there for me. Like, sure, Alan Angels is going to be there, but 10 can go out there for me. This guy can. Colt fucking Cabana could have went out there for him, considering the fact that CM Punk was suspended at that point.
Yeah.
Put fucking Colt Cabana in that match. But no, they don't do that shit. They literally were like, okay, we're going to let this blow over. And we're going to start putting them back in the things. We're going to fire Ace Steel. We're going to have to buy out CM Punk's contract. We're basically saying, we don't want CM Punk anymore. We want these 3 guys. Well, these 3 guys have pretty much proven
they don't give a shit.
That they're assholes. Like, I wish that wasn't the truth. But they're assholes in the industry. Like, who thinks they're bigger than the industry? You know who's bigger than the industry? The Rock. The Rock is bigger than wrestling. He's proven that. He is franchise Viagra. He is, okay, did Black Adam blow it away at the box office? No. Unfortunately, it didn't. And Black Panther has already outdone it at the box office. Wonderful. Great job, Marvel. Awesome movie. But $365 million in a month is still more than the WWE brought in this month. He's bigger than the industry. John Cena may be bigger than the industry in this way. He's on his way. Stone Cold Steve Austin is probably bigger than the industry without even trying to be bigger than the industry. He literally is like, I don't really want to wrestle anymore, but I don't mind doing a show for USA. I don't mind sitting there putting out 2 beers over the last 2 years. No, they're not. They need the industry for relevance.
What about Dusty when he was
around? Dusty. So you look at anybody before, like The Rock, and nobody is like Mick Foley's not bigger than the industry. Mick Foley needs that industry to be as big of a name as he is. The Undertaker needs wrestling.
Wow. Yeah.
But The Rock doesn't need wrestling. Wrestling needs The Rock. Wrestling needs John Cena. Wrestling right now needs Roman Reigns.
What about Owens?
Who?
Kevin.
What about him?
No. I'm trying to think of the name now. I'm trying to think of anybody now.
The only one is Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns still needs wrestling to be relevant. Yeah. He has had a couple minor parts in movies, but until he sits there and takes a role as the leading man, and then all of a sudden they go, he's got 3 more movies lined up.
Okay.
He needs wrestling.
So these
but
3
wrestling
guys,
needs The Rock.
So these 3 guys, wrestling definitely doesn't need an Omega or the Young Bucks.
No, they need wrestling.
So they're not bigger in the industry. No.
Dude, their YouTube show would be nothing if they never showed up on wrestling again. Am I wrong?
No.
Like, would it still have people watch it? Yes. Would they still be able to earn a living on it? I don't know, because I don't know what the YouTube, like, we don't make money on our show. But the truth be told, Kenny's been in Street Fighter, the video game. But Xavier Woods has more pull in the video game industry than he does. So I mean, literally, like they need this industry, and they know that if they don't play nice now, who's going to renew their contracts?
Colin.
Huh?
Tony Khan.
If they don't play nice,
Tony Khan's a mark.
So let me put it this way. You just asked me, Kenny and the Bucks are bigger than wrestling.
Oh, I know they're not.
Tony Khan thought CM Punk was bigger than wrestling.
He was wrong.
But he thought that. And for 6 months, it paid off.
Until Punk showed his true colors.
I think Punk got tired of the politics again. I'm not saying that Punk's right. Like, you signed a contract, you worked your fucking deal. Like, I go to my job for 8 hours a day, and I bust my ass at my job for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and I accept the fact that, like, I get paid a certain amount. That's what happens. That is a job. That is what you do. You sit there and say, I miss wrestling. I want to be a wrestler. This is how I'm going to do it. That's how you fucking do it. You sign a deal, you work the deal, you finish your fucking contract. The fact that like he wants to sit there and bitch and moan about how the EVPs are acting backstage, you should have fucking vetted the fucking company before you signed there.
Yeah.
You just thought that it was better than the other company. You thought it was better than the competition. You thought that the grass was greener. You ended up realizing it wasn't. That's your own fucking fault. So no, I don't think Punk is right, but I don't think the Bucks are right. I don't think Kenny's right. I think all four of those guys should have been fucking fired.
Yeah.
I think that the way and if they had to do anything else, they had to do like what anger management or any of that bullshit. Like great, but let me be honest with you. Sammy Guevara should have been fired the first time he ended up having one of those sexual harassment things come up against him. The Sasha Banks thing.
Yeah.
When it didn't, and he came back, and they pushed him, where's the fucking... Wait. Where is the punishment? Where is the public humiliation for him when he publicly humiliated other people? Where is it? But see, like, when that happened, everybody should have known what kind of company AEW was. And I'm not saying this as a WWE mark, because I'm going to tell you right now, Vince McMahon
was just as guilty.
If Vince McMahon goes into the Hall of Fame this year, I am going to be very upset.
Of course he's going in.
I wouldn't put him in this year.
You wouldn't, but that'll
I would wait until it blows over.
We'll see.
I'm just saying that's, you know, like when they go to Philadelphia next year for WrestleMania, so not LA, but which, by the way, you want to go? Because I've got in Philadelphia. I've got family in Philly.
We'll see what
I got family in Philly. We might be able to find a place to stay.
We'll see what the prices are. That might not be a bad idea. I've never been. It'd be cool to go to a WrestleMania.
Well, I'm hoping Tommy Dreamer goes into the Hall of Fame that year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with him not going in LA, but he better go in Philadelphia.
All right, let's do his predictions.
All right, predictions, folks.
We're already at 2 hours.
Sorry, guys, we're only at an hour and 47 minutes. Let's go. What's the first match?
Well, this isn't listed in order. It gives me a card. So
all right,
I'll go from the bottom up. Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Sting and Darby Allin.
Why?
I don't know.
Who the fuck? Like, when did Tony Khan become Eric Bischoff?
So I'm gonna say Sting and Darby.
Chris Barrett says Jarrett and Jay go over. I think since Sting's been off TV as long as he has, if Sting pins Jarrett, good. Otherwise, I think Darby takes the pin.
Okay. All right. Saraya and Britt Baker.
Good.
I say Britt.
I think it's a double. I think it's a double turn. Like a full on. Britt Baker becomes the babyface, and like I said, I think Saraya wins the match, but Britt Baker does not give up when she's in it. When she's in the Widow's Peak, is that Widowmaker? She does. She used to have a.
I don't know what it is.
But I'm thinking that Britt Baker is like bleeding profusely and does not give up and she passes out.
Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in a steel cage.
Sorry, it's Jack Perry.
Whoever.
Match. Does anybody care at this point?
Jungle Boy goes over. Who goes over?
I'm trying to think. Like I guess it's got to be Jungle Boy. Yeah.
Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose.
Jade Cargill.
ROH World.
Do you agree?
Yeah. ROH World, and I think Jade is a babyface now. ROH World Championship, Jericho versus Bryan Danielson versus Claudio versus Sammy Guevara.
Unfortunately, I think out of all of these, I think this is where Sammy Guevara finally turns on Jericho and takes the belt.
You think Sammy's?
He's the only one that has never held that belt, so he doesn't deserve to be in it because Jericho said he's only going to defend against guys that have had that belt. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that Sammy Guevara walks out with that belt. What do you say?
I was going to say Bryan Danielson.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But then Claudio hates him for taking his former championship. So, but no, and that's just it. I think because Sammy's the only one that's never held that belt, and
he's got to put a riff in the Jericho.
I think he basically turns on Jericho.
Okay.
I think he pins Jericho.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. After Claudio spins him for 15 times or whatever, Sammy pushes him out of the ring and then pins him and then takes the belt. You heard it here first.
AEW Women's Champion, Tony and Jamie Hayter. I would say Hayter.
The way that they booked Tony Storm, yeah.
I don't know.
I think Thunder Rosa may finally come back, but based on how she's acting on Busted Open, I don't think that she's coming back anytime soon because she's a co-host on that.
Tag team, Acclaim and Swerve and Glory. So it's the rubber match.
It's got to be the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
If they try to dog them right now, they kill them.
Yeah. And Jericho and MJF. Sorry, Moxley and MJF.
That's the last match, right? That's it?
Yeah, I said there's not many.
MJF.
Gotta agree. Now,
how do you think that match happens? Go ahead.
They are pushing MJF because remember they're saying that he can't win one without cheating. So
not even without cheating, but this week Moxley came out and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Moxley came out and said, or MJF said, you don't think that I'm the devil. Well, I'll remind you that the devil's best deed was making sure that nobody thought that he really existed, which leads me to believe he's got to go heel again, and the only way to do that is to take Stokely's schmucks. Is that what they're called? Stokely schmucks?
I don't know.
Including William S. Morrissey. William Morrissey.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Big Cass.
His name was not William Morrissey.
Wasn't it William Morrissey?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, Stokely Hathaway's schmucks.
It's getting late. I'm getting tired. You were pissed.
But yes, William Morrissey getting kicked in the nuts, blah blah blah. Go ahead. So you tell me yours.
I think that he's trying to, but then we're saying that he's going for a face turn. So I'm stuck. I know MJF's going to win. I just don't know if he's going to cheat to win or how he's going to,
Well, he said he doesn't need the dynamite diamond ring to do it. So I don't think he's going to put the ring on.
I do think that more the Firm comes down and distracts.
Is that what they're called?
It's called the Firm. Distracts Moxley and Regal somehow.
I mean, is Regal even going to be down at the ringside? So this match has to end with MJF with the belt.
Or
fuck who?
What if Regal turns on Moxley and goes with because he did.
So then he doesn't win with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He wins with the brass knucks.
And then he goes over and takes MJF under his wing. Remember, because that promo a couple weeks ago, they keep coming back to.
What if they kicked Moxley out of the Combat Club
And bring in MJF?
Yeah.
So.
Oh man.
Regal could turn.
What?
Regal could turn on Moxley.
Regal's he said he's the what did he call himself?
Gentleman villain.
The gentleman villain. Like, and he doesn't do it because he needs to. He does it because he likes it.
And what if he's getting tired of the babyface pops and he wants to go back to being heel? Who's the? But.
Oh, you're thinking he leaves the Blackpool Combat Club though, because ideally, like if he's just gonna oversee MJF, dude, him and MJF together, that's almost Roman and Paul Heyman level.
That's what I'm saying. He leaves. He turns and leaves with MJF.
Woo. Woo. Man, I hadn't thought of that. You hear that, folks? Tino actually came up with something that I hadn't thought of. Yeah. And I'm not even playing. Like we didn't talk about this ahead of time. Like
I'm listening to some of the promos. Like when he first came out, it was like you were, I can't.
I always liked you, Maxwell.
No, but he's
Sunshine.
You're supposed to sign me, and and you didn't, and then he kept because he's complimenting Maxwell. If you notice, he's very complimentary of MJF, and he's kind of like, well, you haven't proven to me anything yet. You haven't proven yourself to me yet, and there's a whole lot of subtle nuances that make me think about that.
It is also weird that Moxley has sat there and said stuff like on Sunday night, Saturday.
Yeah.
On Saturday night, it's not you coming after me, it's me coming after you because I want to see if you have what it takes. Which, I mean, immediately sounds like they're catching Moxley off guard somehow. But I hadn't thought of the whole and Regal with MJF is like JBL with Baron Corbin, but it's even more than that. It's not quite the level of Heyman and Roman because MJF is probably better than Roman on the mic.
Yeah.
Although Roman's money right now, man. But
you put Regal.
But Regal is not Heyman.
But Regal is the old school heel. And in order to... Maxwell's got a heel thing going, but you can only make it better if you put a Regal with him. And have Regal kind of tweak things for him.
Regal is like a really good Bobby Heenan.
Yes. So, I think I'm going to call that. I'm going to call Regal turns.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I'm just...
What if Regal hits Moxley with the nuts? Jake, that means MJF didn't do it.
What if? What if Regal accidentally hits Moxley with the knucks, and when Moxley comes out on Wednesday night, Regal turns on him? Like so that way it's like a
cliffhanger. Did
he do it on purpose? Mm-hmm. And you add to the mystique of everything going like. But even still, like the whole idea of Regal leaving the Blackpool Combat Club, which he started for MJF alone. The question is, does that make MJF the heel? Because MJF is riding this MJF babyface high right now.
I think it's a setup, but
I do too. But I feel like they've been pushing to get to Moxley turning heel, and it's so weird because there's so many storylines in AEW that a double turn would make sense.
Or we could still have Regal leave. Moxley turns heel and starts to do something because remember MJF said, "I'm not going to cheat to win." What if he's beating Moxley and Moxley goes to cheat and Regal stops him? Kind of like, that's not what we're doing, Sunshine. And that kind of, you know what I mean?
You threw it at me.
Yeah.
You threw it at me because you know how much I love when Regal says Sunshine.
So if he stops Moxley from cheating,
Sunshine,
that turns Moxley heel because people are wanting to cheer MJF. And then if Regal stops him, kind of steps in, so he could go with him and they could be the faces.
The biggest problem with AEW, and you're right, the biggest problem with AEW, and I don't want to keep this going too long, is that the crowd is pro AEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they want the AEW guy to go over. This is where the problem with Saraya and Britt Baker is. And the unfortunate thing is it means that everything that Jericho's doing, they don't necessarily like, because Jericho, although they still cheer the shit out of Jericho, it's because Jericho keeps saying, I'm a sports entertainer. So anytime they do sports entertainment, which is the swerves and this and that, and that's when the crowd hates it in AEW. They don't like WWE storytelling. They don't like WWE wrestling. They don't like WWE matches. They don't like whatever the case. And again, I don't want to keep this going on, but it basically means that, like, when those matches happen, they have those moments where they're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a moment like that is going to make people turn on Jon Moxley. Because Moxley coming out and saying, I hate the WWE and I just signed a new contract with AEW is going to keep him babyface. Unless he does something overly WWE to then make him the heel. Like MJF sitting there saying that he wants to go to WWE is like the opposite of what all the AEW guys are doing. And that's one of the reasons why people are like, yeah, we like this guy. He's sitting there talking about the business, you know, like,
yeah.
So it's so hard to, like, it really, like, right now it's the top, the great thing about it, Tino, is that Moxley versus MJF truly is, at this moment in time, the two biggest names in AEW going up against each other. And because of that, you know MJF has to go over, but you don't want Jon Moxley not to go over.
Yeah.
So you're literally in a conundrum of who do I cheer for? Who do I accept winning? And who do I think's going to win?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the perfect scenario. That's all that. You're absolutely right. With that, I am done. You go ahead and tell everybody how to. Well, tell everybody how not to reach you on Instagram, because
that is some bullshit. I'm not even going to start that because I'll be another damn 20 minutes. But you can reach. He's on the Twitter at Rob Potsy Pot. He's got some Rob Potsy Pot Chat. No, Rob Pot Chat. No, Twitter Potsy. Fuck it, you do it. I'm tired. I don't give a shit.
All right. On Twitter, he is HootieFan91.
Yes.
I am at Potchak. On Instagram, he is SCTino, not SCTino __. I am Rob Potchak. I am also Rob Potsy Potchak. Junior High Horrors is at Junior High Horrors. And at Immortal the Comic is Immortal the Comic. On YouTube, which is what you're watching us on right here, we are at Rob Potchak.
There's a lot in it.
On TikTok, he controls the at Potsy and Tino show. What is your TikTok?
Tino Gray.
At Tino Gray?
Yeah.
I am at Rob
You don't even know.
Potsy Podcheck.
You got too many.
No, with TikTok, I'm around Potsy Podcheck. What am I gonna say? Instagram, Facebook. We are the Potsy and Tino Show. Yeah, this is why I have you do this part. I'm not even drunk tonight. Like,
I'm just tired. I'm like, I don't.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We want to go ahead and thank Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song. We're about to play that here in a second.
Subscribe. Give the thumbs up.
Subscribe. Give the thumbs up, please. Please do. Tino says buy our shit. He says 99.
That's it.
Yeah. That's why I just went ahead and said it so you can't, so you don't have to. 99. Fuck you.
We'll be here next week. It's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is next. Do you want to do a Tuesday show?
We'll see.
Did you hear him? He's like, we will not be here on Thanksgiving. You keep it up, player, and I'm gonna put you in a match against the Undertaker. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening. We had a blast, and we will see you sometime after AEW Full Gear. Full Gear. Have a great night. Woo! Woo! Oh! Don't ever. No. Don't ever do that again.